of you that have felt anger, which is everyone raise their hand, there are different kinds of anger. Sometimes where it's just verbal, sometimes it's physical, and sometimes it's emotional. I have been a life coach. I go way, way back, decades. I've had adults, I've had inner city young people that were involved with groups, if you know what I mean. And I've even had young teenagers. I had a young teenager once that said, I keep on hurting my mom. I keep on saying things I don't want to say, and I hurt her feelings. Now, sometimes our anger can come from our environment, the way we were raised. We might have been raised where our parents fought constantly, or our mother was a tyrant that yelled and screamed all the time about everything just to yell and scream. There are many situations. Maybe being bullied at school turned you very angry, then you developed anger problem. Whatever the case is, like my mother, 100% Italian, she loved to throw dishes and have them smash on the floor. I actually think I caught on to her years later. I think she used to like to buy a new set of dishes and got her anger out, so it was twofold. Got her anger out and was able to buy new dishes. And I chose not to be that way, to not listen to that. You can also choose to not demonstrate anger in an inappropriate way. If you yell, rant and rave, and are aggressive, I'm not going to tell you, because it's impossible to stop all at once. What you do is, even if it's at the end of the argument, catch yourself and stop. And after you do that, then maybe 3/4 of the way through the argument, you stop. Press the stop button. You could do it, because anger is an addiction like everything else. Unfortunately, you don't have to go buy it. It's right there in you. So there. You don't have to, like addiction to things on the internet, you have to actually go on the internet. So these things, the anger is inside of you. It is an addiction inside of you. And number one, sorry, I didn't say this first. Number one, you have to admit you have a problem. Not like, well, they deserve it. Well, I mean, if you're going to be that way, then there's not a lot of hope for you improving and being successful as a human being in relationships and how you deal with work episodes that make you angry, school, home, family, friends, etc., etc., etc. So now that you have stopped yourself almost 90% through the argument, now you could stop yourself 75%, then maybe 74, 73, 72. It doesn't matter how fast you do it, just as long as you progress. And sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll go to halfway, and then you'll stop halfway, then you'll go all the way through the argument. Then you say, oh man, I blew it. But trust me, there'll be another time that you could try it out, because you'll get angry again and there'll be another argument somewhere, somehow. So then go down to 50%. And like I taught my students and my young adults and adults, everyone, I taught all levels using the same techniques, only vocabulary might have been a little higher, maybe not, because children are very bright and I like to make it simple for my adults. You know how a soldier, one foot is forward and the other foot is turned the other way, and then you just twist in your about face? Practice that. If you don't know how to do it, go to YouTube. YouTube will show you how to about face. And if you're in an argument, just stop it. Whether it's 99% before the end, or you've now worked to 50%, just about face and split. If the other person is still ranting and raving, let them do it, just like a toddler on the floor, kicking and screaming and banging his feet, her feet. Just let her go and walk out of the room. Of course, there has to be supervision, but you walk out of the room, let them get over it, and they're over it. If they follow you, go into a room, they're banging on the door, leave the house. Don't let anyone manipulate you ever. To be successful in an argument, you have to take control of ending the argument. And if there is no end, then you leave the house. No matter what time of day or evening, you leave. Don't stay and be abused, especially when you're trying to make yourself a better person. So eventually, in time, you won't argue inappropriately. If it's not civil, with a civil tone, which is working out a problem. Arguments, just number one, say that you have a problem. Number two, I've showed you how to fix it. Start from 95% to 80 to 70, whatever the increments of getting better in an argument. Once you realize you have an argument, once you realize that you're arguing and you have a conscious knowledge in your mind what you're going to do when the next argument comes, then whatever you practice, like I've said to my students, young adults, everyone, whatever you practice on the screen, repeat after me. whatever you practice, you get better at it. Again, whatever you practice, you get better at it. Now do it yourself. Whatever you practice, excellent. And if you practice stifling yourself in an argument and being the bigger person, killing your addiction, succeeding, it's all about success. All these videos are steps to success on every aspect of your life. So do it. I know you could do it. I've had inner city people that were members of groups, and that was the highest level of anger. And then I've had young teenagers that would lash out at her mom. Not that I'm saying one is worse than the other, which sometimes it is, but that child was hurting in her heart because she was hurting her mom. And then I taught her how not to do it. And she felt so much better about herself. Because if you could catch yourself doing it, it's just like going on a diet and going to get a big giant pie, putting the fork in it, and realizing, I don't think so. I've come this far, not for me. Just like putting the pie away, or the cake, or the ice cream, whatever it is like that. So you learn. It's a learned behavior. Aggression, anger is a learned behavior, and it could be unlearned, or actually it could be changed. I promise you, it will work 1000%. And as always, listening audience, YouTube family, please share this. Everybody needs to hear this, from young people to grandparents. Everybody could get better. Everyone can succeed in an area of their life, in many areas of their lives. So please share it. Please subscribe to this channel. If you like this, thumbs up and a bell so you'll always know. And also, please leave comments because you are important to me. Tell you how this worked for you. And if there's another problem that you have or advice that you could give me that I could share, I would love. Not only do I love to teach, but more than I love to teach, I love to learn. I love to learn. 6 years of college is kind of a clue that I love to learn. If my scholarships didn't run out, I probably would have went 10 years. And I had excellent education too in a field that was extremely rewarding. But that's for another video. Okay, everyone. God bless you. Please leave comments, like I said. You are very important to me. Your suggestions, your comments, your questions are very valuable to me. So please leave them, and I will answer you expeditiously. Okay, God bless you until we meet again.